All right, hi everyone. This is a recording of the CT11 Technological Design Rollout for the 2026-2027 school year. My name is Michael Renee, and I'm a computer science, IT, and technology education consultant here at North Carolina DPI, Career and Technical Education Division. And this rollout webinar will be real short. There's not a whole lot new in the course, but there is a couple of things that we want to point out that are different in the coming school year, 26-27. So let's go over those now. Um, these slides in this recording, obviously you're watching the recording, and the slides will be available on the CTE Moodle, both for the directors and CIMCs as well as the teachers, teacher Moodle as well. So CT11 Technological Design continues to use the ITEA curriculum, specifically the Technological Design curriculum. The way you access the curriculum changed a little bit this year, so I think a lot of teachers have gotten used to this process. But if you go to this website here, you click out there, it'll take you directly to ITEA. If you look up here at the URL, itea.org/North Carolina, and you'll access the curriculum here. You have to fill out a short form. You will need a free ITEA account, so make sure you create that first. And we do ask that you use your school email, whether it's a charter school or a public school. Please use your school email, because that way we can track what school districts are using the curriculum. If you weren't aware, North Carolina has a state agreement with ITEA, and we pay ITEA yearly, or I think it's a 3-year fee, and they give every public school and charter school in North Carolina access to their curriculum as part of that agreement. So it's free to the schools. It's not free to the state. We're paying for it, but we do want to track, and we do like to know how many schools are using it. So if you use a school email, it makes us very easy to do that. Again, you need a free account. The free account doesn't give you access to the ITEA membership. So that is sometimes a common misconception, is if you want ITEA membership, that's a separate thing that your school district, PSU, needs to pay for. I think it's like $100 a year, $95 a year, or something that you need to pay for. When I was in the classroom, I just paid for it myself, and it's one of those things, you can put on your taxes as a professional fee for a professional organization. So again, the free account doesn't give you a membership to ITEA. With membership to ITEA, you get discounts on their conferences and a lot of their marketplace and stuff like that. But the free account will give you access to the curriculum. So once you do that, you'll click this form, you'll fill it out, and usually within minutes. Sometimes it might take a little longer depending on the day or the day of the week. But once you get that, you'll get an email from ITEA that will give you access to a Google Drive. And the Google Drive will look something like this. So if you're a veteran teacher that's been around a while, you might remember those old ITEA PDFs. Those are gone, thank goodness, because those are very onerous and hard to navigate. If you have one, please archive it. Don't delete it, but just archive it or mark it old or something, because those PDFs are no longer valid, and there's a lot of older information on those. So you want to be using the Google Drive here. And when you sign up, you'll ask for the high school curriculum. You can get middle school if you teach middle school as well. It'll ask you, but you get the high school curriculum, they give you access to all their high school curriculum. So we're obviously concerned here with technological design, this one right here. So this is where you'll go. But if you notice, you have CT10, which they call Foundations of Technology. That's here. Some of you might be teaching CT10. CT12 is Engineering Design. And then they have some other courses in here that we don't actually teach in North Carolina, but maybe you want to at your school through an LCO. So there's actually a computer science course in here that uses, it's an APCS course that uses Beauty and Joy of Coding. And there's also an Onshape course. So Onshape is the preferred 3D modeling tool recommended by ITEA. You certainly don't have to use Onshape. You can use other CAD tools, 3D modeling tools, or I should say 3D design tools. If you're using Inventor or Fusion or various other programs, those are fine as well. But the Onshape is what ITEA recommends. And so again, there's a whole course in Onshape, and you have access to this, so you can take it if you want. ITEA even offers a certification in Onshape. So it's nice you have access to all this material. But you'll go into technological design, that's CT11, and here you see all the units, see you tests, you'll see material lists, you'll see standards, crosswalk to TSA, and then your teacher guide. And then within each of these folders, you will have access to all your documents, PowerPoints, quizzes, slideshows, those types of things. So that's how you get access to the curriculum. Again, you're going to go to itea.org/North Carolina, or the link is also in the Moodle. So these instructions are in Moodle as well as the curriculum guide that I'll show you. So hopefully between the curriculum guide, Moodle, and this, you know how to access the curriculum. My contact information will be at the end of the slideshow. So for whatever reason, if you have questions about that, you can always reach out to me as well. So we'll go back to the slideshow here. One thing that has been added, and this is being added to all new CTE courses, not just in computer science, IT, and tech ed, but any new computer science course are what are called course outcomes. So any new course that comes out this year, you'll start to see these. And basically what these are is our attempt of trying to make the course a little more explainable to parents and students, right? Because a lot of times you can show parents and students the standards and the objectives. In particular, parents, they might not really care about that. They just really want to know what what their student's going to learn, or the student wants to know what they're going to learn. So the attempt here is to have 3 or 5 sentences that kind of explain in simple language what you're actually going to learn in the course. And so you can see the course outcomes for this course here. The standards have been updated just with 1 and 2. So 3 through 6 are roughly the same as they've always been. There's some slight language change, but they should be roughly the same. 1 and 2, again, are being added to all new CT second level courses. So if it's a second level course like CT11 is, these are new standards that are being added. And the idea here is that when we talk to industry, they really want students to have some what we can call career leadership and employability skills. And so this is our attempt to, we all know that you guys as CTE teachers are teaching those career skills in the classroom, of course, but this is just our way to formalize it. So when we show these to, vendors and potential employers of our students and that type of thing, we can say, sure, look, it's actually built into the standards that they're learning some of those career and leadership skills. And so it's only 10% of the course. In the curriculum guide that I'll show you in a minute, we do provide unpacked content, but you're certainly free to teach those 2 standards however you see fit. You probably have, especially if you come from industry, you have, ways that you can share with your students about how to teach employability skills. And of course, they're aligned with our CTSO, which for, our courses is generally TSA and Skills USA. As I mentioned, there's an updated curriculum guide, so it does have those course outcomes. It has the instructions on how to access the ITEA curriculum, as I just showed you, and then it has those new standards. So if we flip over here to the curriculum guide, you can see here it's pretty short because it just has our updated standards, and I'm going to go to those real quick. Here's the vendor information that I told you about how to access the curriculum. Here's our course outcomes. And then if we scroll down here, you can see standard 1 and standard 2 with the unpacked content as well as essential questions. So again, feel free to use this unpacked content if you want. If not, you can come up with your own. And we only provide this content there for standards 1 and 2, because as you notice, when you get to standard 3, it'll say refer to the curriculum vendor for that information. And so that means you'll go to this folder here in ITEA once you have access to get all your course content. Okay, and then really finally, here's just our crosswalk. So we crosswalk our state standards with the units in the ITEA curriculum, so you can see where they match up there. And then finally, we're going to be doing some Tinkercad training in CT11. It does recommend that you have Arduino microcontrollers. You don't have to have you don't have to have Arduinos. If you want to follow the curriculum directly, it helps to have that because that's what the resources provide. But for instance, in CT10, you might be using microbits, or you're probably using microbits in CT10. And so you can certainly use those in CT11 to teach the standards all around electronics as well. You'll just need some kind of extra stuff for your microbit, like a breadboard, a way to connect your microbit to the breadboard. They make little adapters to do that, and some LEDs and potentiometers and that type of thing. But we do recommend Arduino if your PSU can purchase it. It is required on the equipment list, so hopefully that won't be an issue. But if for some reason you don't have Arduinos, you don't have microbits, you can actually do this all virtually in Tinkercad. So most people know Tinkercad as the 3D, the very simple 3D modeling software. But if you go to Tinkercad, you might realize that you can also do circuits, right? And so if you look here, you can do virtual circuits where you're programming them virtually using block-based coding, or I think it allows you to do text-based coding as well. And so you can do that virtually. So I really like this as a way to, even if you have physical Arduinos, have the students build it virtually first in the virtual simulator. Of course, this is all free. If you've used Tinkercad before, you know it's all completely free and it's web-based. So, you don't have to worry about the IT department installing things. I will say with the Arduino IDE, although I think they have a web-based, in fact, I know they have a web-based IDE now where you can program. The older one, is something that the IT department would have to install. So I like this because it's all right in the web browser, and the students can program the Arduino or the microbit virtually. And then if you have the hardware, then have them build it physically, right? And that's a good model, a technique to kind of show how it's done in industry as well. Of course, when big engineering projects are being designed, they're always doing them in simulators first. And so it's a good practice for the students to get used to that. So we'll be doing some training on, or I should say some virtual training, some asynchronous web series, kind of like this. Well, myself or one of our pathway teachers will be making some videos about how to use Arduino circuits in Tinkercad. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure you can figure it out yourself, but for those that are beginners or we'll even make it so it's student facing. So if you just want to be able to show the videos to your students as instruction, for whether you want to use it in class or use it, when a sub is there, that type of thing, we'll be posting those to the Moodle and on YouTube as well. We're working on those now. We have a couple of them done, but we're going to release them as a series, and they'll be released this April. And again, that'll be announced on the Moodle. So you'll have, a heads up when those are ready. And then finally, really, here's the pathway. That nothing there has changed. CT11 is a concentrator, right? So CT10 is still a prerequisite. If you didn't know, that course now will have in 26-27, will have a state assessment, and that'll be coming out here at the end of this school year. So more to come on that. We'll have a rollout of that in, I believe, May. To learn about the state assessment. But CT10 is a prerequisite to this course. And of course, a lot of schools are either doing CT11 or 12. You certainly could do a 3-course sequence where you have CT12 is the major in the sequence, in the pathway if you want. But most schools do CT10 and then 11 or 12. And then the proof of learning remains local. So CT11 for the foreseeable future will be local. Will it ever change? I'm not entirely sure. That's really not up to me. I do know that a lot of courses we are putting PBMs in, and so this course could have a PBM at some point, but for next year it certainly won't. It'll be a local POL, so it'll be up to your PSU on how you determine you want to assess the students on the standards and objectives of the course. Okay. And this was meant to be live, so obviously if you were live, you could have questions, but if you have any questions or you would like some additional training, or maybe you're a CIMC or a director that's watching this and you want me to work with one of your teachers, I'm happy to do that. My email is right there. Please reach out to me, and I'll be happy to get in contact with you or your teachers and help you in any way I can. So I do appreciate you attending the webinar. And again, please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much.